Europe, 1944. The Allies had gained control of the skies. American bombers roamed freely over Germany. British Spitfires and American P-51 Mustangs escorted them with near impunity. For the first time in the war, the Luftwaffe, once the most feared air force in the world, was on the defensive. But as Allied pilots pressed deeper into enemy territory, reports began to surface, whispers of a new German aircraft, something faster, deadlier, and unlike anything ever seen before. A plane that could appear out of nowhere, strike with blinding speed, and vanish before anyone could react. The Allied pilots called it the Stormbird. Its real name was the Messerschmitt Me-262. The Me-222 was a weapon decades ahead of its time, the world's first operational jet-powered fighter aircraft. Powered by two Junkers Jumo turbojet engines, it could reach speeds over 870 kilometers per hour, nearly 200 kilometers per hour faster than any Allied fighter in the sky. To the pilots who first encountered it, the Me-262 seemed like something from another world. It didn't sound like a piston engine. It didn't move like any plane they knew. It was a metallic blur, a flash of thunder slicing through formation before anyone could respond. One American bomber crew described the first sighting. It came from nowhere. No sound, no warning. It flashed past our wing like lightning, fired, and disappeared into the clouds. It wasn't flying. It was something else. The idea for the Me-262 began years earlier. In 1938, when German engineers at Messerschmitt proposed a revolutionary concept, an aircraft powered not by propellers, but by jet engines compressing air and igniting fuel for pure thrust. Adolf Hitler himself took interest in the design, but his interference nearly doomed the project. He insisted the Me-262 be used as a fighter bomber, capable of carrying bombs against ground targets rather than a pure interceptor. This delayed production for crucial months. Despite Hitler's meddling, German engineers pushed forward. By 1943, prototypes of the Me-262 were flying, and when the first Allied pilots faced it in combat, they were stunned. Even the legendary P-51 Mustang could not catch it. Its climb rate, acceleration, and speed were beyond anything the Allies possessed. To the Allied bomber crews, the Me-262 became a symbol of terror. A squadron of these jets could tear through a formation of B-17s in seconds. Each was armed with four 30mm Mk108 cannons, capable of ripping apart even the heaviest bombers with a few hits. When the Me-262 attacked, the sky became chaos. Gunners fired wildly into empty air. By the time they spotted the enemy, it was already too late. A B-17 tail gunner recalled, "They were ghosts. We'd see a flash, a few shells hit, then they were gone. You couldn't track them. They were simply too fast." The speed that gave the Me-262 its strength also made it deadly to Allied morale. For the first time in years, bomber crews feared that their air superiority might not last. But even the most advanced weapon has weaknesses. The Me-262's engines were fragile and unreliable. The early jet turbines used rare metals and could only operate for a few dozen flight hours before failing. Acceleration was slow at low speed, and takeoff was dangerous. Allied pilots learned quickly. The Me-262 was most vulnerable during takeoff and landing, as it slowed to land or struggled to gain speed. Propeller-driven Mustangs and Thunderbolts pounced on it mercilessly. Entire Allied squadrons began patrolling near German airfields, waiting for the jets to rise or descend. Many Me-262s were destroyed before they could even fight. One German pilot later admitted, "We ruled the air for only 20 minutes, between takeoff and landing. The rest of the time, we were hunted. Despite its flaws, those who flew the Me-262 were among the most skilled pilots in the world. Men like Adolf Galland, commander of the German fighter force, and Walter Nowotny, one of the Luftwaffe's top aces, became synonymous with the jet's legend. Galland described the first time he flew the M-22. It was as if angels were pushing me. The acceleration, the silence. It was flying the future. For these men, the Me-262 represented a final hope, a chance to turn the tide of war through technology. But no matter how advanced the aircraft, the Luftwaffe simply could not build enough of them. Germany's factories were bombed, its fuel reserves depleted, its pilots exhausted. Only about 300 Me-262s ever became combat-ready. They scored hundreds of kills, but it was too late. For Allied pilots, the fear of the Me-262 lingered long after each mission. It represented the terrifying thought that the enemy might still possess something beyond comprehension, a weapon capable of rewriting the rules of war. Every sighting of a jet sent shivers through bomber formations. Even if the jets were few, the psychological effect was enormous. It made every mission over Germany feel like stepping into the unknown. When Allied intelligence finally captured an intact Me-262, engineers could hardly believe what they found. Its swept wings, its power-to-weight ratio, and its advanced aerodynamic design foreshadowed the jet age that would follow. By early 1945, as Germany collapsed, the Me-262 became a symbol not of victory, but of lost potential. If it had appeared a year earlier, it might have changed the course of the air war, but by the time it reached full production, it was too late. Fuel shortages, bombing raids, and lack of trained pilots doomed the aircraft that might have rewritten history. The Me-262's speed was its gift, but time was not. After the war, captured Me-262s were studied by the Allies. The British, Americans, and Soviets all used its technology to develop their own first-generation jet fighters. The Me-262 had opened the door to the future, a future of supersonic flight, guided missiles, and a new era of aerial warfare. But for those who lived through it, the Me-262 would always remain something else. A machine that arrived too late to save Germany, but just in time to terrify everyone who saw it. It was proof that even as one world was ending, another, faster, colder, and far more dangerous, was beginning. In the final months of World War II, as Allied bombers filled the skies over Europe, there was still one aircraft that made even the bravest pilots nervous. It was sleek, silent, and impossibly fast. A glimpse of it meant death could come in seconds. The Messerschmitt Me-262, the secret weapon that terrified Allied pilots, was more than just a machine. It was a vision of the future, born in the chaos of the past. And though it came too late to change the outcome of the war, it changed forever the way mankind would fight in the skies.